Welcome back to Just Got Played. This is your boy Jim Jam JJ here. I got my crew with me. Let's start with the bottom for me. That is Erock down there. I don't know where this is for everybody else, but he's down below for me. Steven's over there. John is over there. And I got a new person over here. What do you want to go by? We didn't talk about that. What do you want to go by?
Allie.
Okay, Allie. This is Allie, apparently. We're all here, and we've got another review for you. This time, I'm very excited because I played this game during Dice Tower, and then I didn't get to play it again until like a month later. And then Steven over there sent me a link for a special sale day at Game Nerds. If you get to watch the unboxing, I talk about it. I was very excited and very panicky the whole day. They had a sale like every hour, and I finally jumped in, got it before it sold out. Some people weren't very unlucky, unfortunately. But he's going to get his copy soon because I'm sending him mine. He knows this already. It's not a big surprise, but he's going to get mine. We are reviewing Thunder Road Vendetta, not the Chrome Edition, because I don't think... Did anyone even play the Chrome Edition? Everybody played it?
That's what they had at Dice Tower, yeah.
Okay, I played something, had all that stuff. I didn't know it was the fancy version or not. Had all the expansions on there. I don't know. Anyways, I got the base version, but I had to go back and get the Chrome Edition because going and individually getting all the expansions was just going to be too much. So I got the Chrome Edition coming. You saw Lloyd unbox that one. You're going to see the regular version that I have being unboxed. But for now, we're going to do a review. Who wants to go first?
Why don't you tell us how to play the game first?
That we should do too. I forgot about that. We're going to do that first. And then who wants to go first? We'll figure that out before I do the overview. All right? Well, fine. You talk first. Steve's going to go first. But before he goes, we're going to do a quick overview. You're going to see me now. So we just got the basic players abilities. I got the orange player out here. So everything is going to run the same as far as the different players. You can play 2 to 4 players in this game. Takes, about an hour or so, depending on if somebody gets blown up or eliminated. Gameplay is going to keep going. Everybody's going to take their turns activating all their vehicles and then playing their little board power until one player is completely eliminated from the board or all their cars are inoperable. At that time, you're going to take the end game board, free city, and then that's going to, whoever crosses the free city finish line will get to is the winner. That's basically how it goes. So if you have at least one car surviving all the way till the end, you win. Yay. So played this game a couple of times, played it during Dice Tower, and loved it. We all, most of us like the game. You will see the review eventually for this. But most of us didn't think we were going to like it at first. Probably even saw the Kickstarter and said no, and then came back and were like, oh, this is amazing. So I really enjoy this game, and this is why I'm going to do a how to play with you right here. Not going to take too long. The game is not very complicated. It's just a bunch of randomness, and you're just going through and you're trying to smash each other and knock each other off the board and be the last survivor to make it into Free City, the victory, the finish line. First thing you're going to do is you're going to choose the 3 spaces, usually starting with the Chapter 1A, or you can flip it over to 1B. The parking lot, each board space has a different name. Go through all of that. But basically, you want to start with 1A or B, and that's going to be your first starting space, starting board. Everybody's going to start with this board, and then you're going to choose 2 other boards randomly, and that's the racetrack for that game that you're playing. Anytime somebody moves on off to the 3rd board, you're just going to take the last board, flip it over, and put it towards the end, and slide everything down. Any vehicles or anything that's on the hazards or whatever have you are on the board that gets taken off gets eliminated. So you're gonna hopefully be off that board before somebody else makes it all the way to the end. Also, you're gonna shuffle the hazard tokens and fill in the spaces. It's gonna be determined by the number of players, what spaces you fill in. All the other boards that are gonna have hazard spaces, you're just gonna put a hazard token on that space, and that'll determine what the hazard is for that turn. It's supposed to be randomly assigned onto the board. And then we have the damage tokens. There's just a few here. You're going to randomly draw those out anytime your vehicle's damaged. If you have 2 damage tokens on your vehicle, it is inoperable, and then until you repair it, you can't actually put that car back into a race. But for all purposes, it's pretty much a wreckage or a wrecked vehicle. It can still be slammed, it just can't be moved or damaged further, so you can't shoot it because there's no point. And for each player space, each player is going to have their player boards. So that's going to be your little optional action board, and then 1 board for each one of your vehicles. Everybody gets a large, medium, and small vehicles in the base game, and you get your 4 die in your color and your helicopter. So this is how your player board is going to go. If you ever get damaged, you're going to put the damage tokens underneath, just like so. Flip it over, depending on what it is. Blast off ability. Most of the damage tokens are going to have a special effect or whatever you want to call it. Every time you get damaged, then once it's removed, it just goes away. And then if you ever have the 2 damage on your vehicle, you're supposed to flip over your board, take your vehicle, and turn it backwards compared to the direction. Usually you're going from left to right, whatever. But at that point, unless you know that that vehicle is inoperable. And then once you remove at least one of the damage away, you can flip your board back over and your car can go back into the race. If at any point your car gets eliminated, then you just take the car off the board and flip your board over and put your car on top of the board. So that way everybody knows it's no longer in the race. Okay, I have the starting board set up for 3 players. So as you can see on the starting board, you only put hazard tokens on spaces denoted by that many players. So we have 2 or 3 players, you cover that up. To determine first player, all you're going to do is roll the die, determining whoever has the highest number gets to go first. Every round, when the first player takes their turn, they're going to roll the road die. The road die gives you a bonus at the end of your movement if you manage to stay on the road spaces throughout your whole entire turn. Remember, you do that last. Anytime during your turn, when you decide to move one of your cars, you have to take the whole movement, no more, no less. And at the end of that, you can, if you manage to stay on the road the whole time, you can take the extra movement on the road die. After everybody takes their turn, the road die is going to pass to the player on the left, and then that person becomes the first player for the next round. The turns alternate clockwise until somebody reaches the finish line, or as the last survivor. On a player's turn, when they decide to move their car, they're going to assign one of their 4 dice to a particular car, and they're going to start out at the beginning of the race. You start at any one of the edge of the board road spaces, and then your movement will have to move forward. You can never move backward. So there are 3 spaces that are adjacent and in front of the space that your car is on. You have to move in one of those spaces, always moving forward, however many movement die that you decide to use for that specific vehicle. At the end of your turn, if you happen to end in a space that is adjacent and behind a vehicle that, even if it's yours, you have the choice if you want to shoot that vehicle. At that point, you would roll the accuracy die, which has all different faces on it with crosshairs and then like an M or an L or S. The corresponding letters go to the size of the vehicle that you are shooting at. If you manage to roll a face that has the corresponding vehicle, then that's a hit. The person that you are attacking, or yourself, I don't know why you would want to do that, but the rulebooks say you can. They take a damage token and then apply the effects and assign it to that vehicle. If at any point you go into a space with somebody else's vehicle, even yours, which I don't understand why, that initiates a slam. At that point, you put the car that is initiating the slam goes on top of the other car. And sometimes it could be like a wreck or something. And then at that point, you will roll the slam die and the direction die, which indicate which vehicle is being affected, which is the slam die. It could be the top or the bottom. As you can see the faces there, I believe it's 50-50. And then the direction die will let you know which direction the affected vehicle is going. So the grayed in space is the vehicle, and then the hollowed out space is the direction they're going. There's a die face for each different direction. Hopefully you manage to stay on the board when you're knocked out, because if you're on the edge, say this slam happened over here, and you got a face that knocked you off the board somehow, then that car is eliminated from the race. So even if you initiated the slam, you could be the one that's flying off the board. And we're back. I'm back here. You just saw me do the overview, and now we're back here. And Steven's still going to go first, so he's going to go now.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I just got to tell you, when I play this game, I love it because I don't care who's winning, who's going to win. I am an agent of chaos. On my turn, I decide what is the most chaotic thing that I can do. What is the craziest thing I can try to do on this turn? And, to me, that's what this game is about, right? It allows that. I'm waiting on a copy of this game from the Game Nerd sale. It hasn't gotten here yet. I want to play with my kids. I want to see how this craziness works out. I didn't think I was going to like this game, right? It just looked like a stupid dice checker shooting game which, I've got a lot of stupid dice checker games that are sort of similar to that. I didn't think I needed another one, but then we played it at Dice Tower Con, and I was like, this is fantastic. Why is this fantastic? I still don't know. I still don't know why this is fantastic. I just decide to do some crazy stuff, and I roll some dice, and it ends up being fun. I don't know. It's magic. It's magic, I tell you.
It's one of those games that's greater than the sum of its parts, because if I try to sell it to you, you roll a dice, you move a car. If you bump into people, you might move into the next lane. And then when someone dies, whoever crosses the finish line first wins. There's nothing to this game on paper. It could have been a boring, terrible game 99 times out of 100. But for some reason, everything just comes together to play so interestingly every turn. I've played this like 8 times now, and there hasn't been a single time where I was like, oh, that didn't really hit the spot, or oh, it was more fun the other time. It's always just a fun, chaotic time. I mean, you can summon helicopters to shoot people. You can ram into them. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's never boring. There's never a time where I'm just like, I don't care what's going on, or I don't care what's happening. Like, every person's turn is interesting. Every potential thing you hit is going to flip over a hazard is interesting. The terrain tiles are interesting. How the game ends is interesting. Like, it's always come down to the wire of last person standing or crossing the finish line while the other person's trying to shoot at you. It's just one of those games that just every time you play it, it sings, and there's something in its DNA that you just can't quite put your finger on, but it works, and it's just a fantastic game.
Yeah, I agree. I was also prepared to hate this game. I saw it on the crowdfunding platforms, and I was like, oh, fantastic. Some wreck your car racing game. I could care less. Those of you who have watched the channel at all know that I am your heavy gamer. I am the Euro player. I like to think 12 turns ahead for what I'm doing right now and try to get that whole thing working well in both a strategic and a tactical way. And one night, a buddy of mine invited me over to his house to play some games. Yes, this is like my forever best friend, Mark. You got you, buddy. And showed up at his house, and he's like, let's play this. And I said, cool, it's your house, because I haven't played it yet, and I figured, well, I'm just going to hate it. I'll play it one time, and that'll be that. I was wrong. It was fantastic. It was glorious. It's so much fun. I'm like these guys. Like, I can't even tell you why it's fun. It's just, it's so much fun. You're just like bouncing cars off of each other into traps off of the track. The game at my buddy's house, I ended up winning that game, but it came down to the wire because like I was getting ready to cross the line, but one of the guys way behind, this is my final chance, hit like 3 jumps on one roll, and the last jump put him on a mine to blow him up. Otherwise, he would have rolled through and won the game. This game is so cinematic. There was a point where we have like 3 helicopters chasing down the guy in front, all 3 of them trying to blow that guy up so he doesn't win. Like, everything that happens in this game, like, you can just see the Mad Max movie going on in the background. It's fantastic.
I love that parallel, talking about it being cinematic. I mean, before we started recording today, John and I were swapping stories. He's telling a story about, well, because this is from an expansion, but the big rig sideswiping some motorcycles off the board, whatever, and it's like we're talking about a TV show or something that he watched that he's telling me about, right? But it was just a dice checking board game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I too saw this. Most thematic board games, this would have to be on it, right?
Yes. Sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can throw anything on there. I too saw this on our crowdfunding website that shall not be named, and I did not go all in. And then I played it at Dice Tower like everybody else. I was like, this is gonna be dumb. But everybody's like, let's come and play it. We had a full 6 people playing, and then we played it, and I was like, this is amazing. Even before the first round was over, I thought this was amazing. But yeah, like everybody else, I thought it was terrible. And then I got Allie over here to tell you how much she loves this game. So you can go.
Well, I heard so many great things about this game from hearing people played it at Dice Tower. So I wasn't really sure what to expect. But like you said, John, it was chaotic. Like, there was chaos. It was definitely not boring. But I think I might be the dissenting opinion here. I mean, I found things that I did like in it, but I wasn't really sure what to expect. And it was complete and utter chaos. I could not plan anything. I would try to do something, and I ended up knocking off my own 2 cars within the first 2 rounds. I just shoot him with the chopper, and my car blows up instead because of this dice rolling. And now my car's the one on top, and I'm off the board. And oh my goodness. So So it was a bit chaotic, but I mean, it was interesting and it was very exciting. So there was a lot of yelling and excitement and salty faces on my part. And but
So what you're saying is JJ ruined the game for you.
well, he ended up.
JJ gets ruined by everybody. None of my cars blew up. Everybody just shot me. And then if all your cars become incapacitated, you're out of the game as well. So naturally, none of my cars blew up, but I got shot to death. Thank you very much. Also, I will say,
interesting side note that somebody has to be eliminated in order for anybody to win.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's just kind of weird because a lot of times we talk about we don't like player elimination and all this other stuff. And still in this, you could very well be the first one eliminated and then the game goes on another hour. That's entirely possible.
No. The game ends really. I've never seen that
happen.
Long because once somebody's eliminated, that's the end of the race right there, right?
Somebody's you put the finish line down and someone touches it and it's over.
That doesn't mean it can't be another hour. It's
I've never seen it more than 10 minutes after that happens.
Yeah.
It's quick.
Man, I gotta play with you guys, man. My crew is terrible.
It's because you're playing with all Euro gamers.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. You talked about that crew that ruins King of Tokyo. I wouldn't be surprised if they ruined this too. But I totally know what Ali is talking about here because I have a friend, Kevin, and we think he would hate this game. Right? Like he wants
shout
to
out to Kevin.
He wants to know the outcomes. Yeah, shout out Kevin. But I think he would have the exact same experience that you're talking about, where we'd be in there and we'd all just be random chaos, blowing each other up, and John and I would be laughing, and Kevin would be like, "This sucks."
That's how
it's funny because we have a Kevin in our group that does the same thing. So yeah, you can't plan anything. All right, I'm going to round up all the pros of this. I will say, I'm just going to stick to the base game first because that's what we played last, even though I played the Chromium edition. Even with the base game, it is enough in there that at beginning, it scales great with the amount of people because you can start with 2 players, go to 4 players with the base game, and you still have fun. There's so much randomness. And like everybody was saying, except for Erock for some reason, the game doesn't last much longer after somebody gets eliminated. And it's really not that hard to eliminate somebody. Somebody had her car blown up right after it got the first move because it got knocked off the board because somebody rammed into it. You hit an oil slick and then you bump into somebody and
trying to shoot you.
It's that too. Yeah.
So it's karma.
Ricocheted off. So I love the randomness of the game. I am a big, heavy Eurogamer as well. And that's why I didn't buy it when it went to the crowdfunding source site. But then I played it and I'm like, this is just pure chaos. So I'm just going to try to do the normal thing and see what happens from there, So it's probabilities. So that's why I like, plus I liked all the different options. I want to talk about the Chromium edition because that's where the real goodness comes in.
No, but I disagree here. The Chrome edition is like $140, and that can turn a lot of people off. The retail version you can find, if you can find it, it's probably like $35, and it's really good. You don't need all of that Chrome in the Chrome edition to have a lot of fun with this game.
Nice.
Yes, Stephen, thank you. That's what I was saying. Yes. With the base game, you can still have fun. It's only 4 players, though. That's the only problem. But anyway, yes, there's enough in the base game to be able to play it multiple times. And there's so much randomness with what goes on that you can still have a really good, quick game, and it's not going to take super long time to play. So randomness, as far as that's concerned, great game in my point. This is probably going to be the only game I play with this kind of randomness. I just liked it when I first jumped into it. Okay.
There's going to be people that bounce off of it, just like any game. But
it's not.
I think at the point the industry's now, there's so many games. There's like 50,000 games on the market, and a lot of them are borrowing from each other, and they're taking concepts and they're reusing them and stuff. So a lot of times, most games now that come out, you play it and go, "Oh, I was like Ark Nova, but I prefer Ark Nova, and I already own it." And that's perfectly fair. We all have probably a pretty decent sized collection at this point. A lot of games are going to kind of feel samey. This is one of those rare games where everyone I've ever played it with is like, I have to own this game. And it's happened every single time that I've played the game.
Which is funny, is because it's a reimagining of just a mass market game from the 80s.
Yeah, it's just roll and move. It's crazy how both of my favorite games from Dice Tower are roll and moves, and this was one of them. So,
well, I mean, technically, it's a roll and move and bounce and bounce and bounce and ram.
Bounce off the board
and shoot.
Pokey bounce.
What it is at its core, to squeeze this much fun out of this little mechanics is just amazing. It is voodoo. A feat. It is a feat of design. It really is.
It's voodoo, I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody can figure it out. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Everybody good with their pros? Because we're going to switch to the cons. Why is it bad? I'll go first. Why don't you? Contrary to what I said and what Steven said, you need the Chrome edition for it to be any good. As far as I'm concerned, replay value, I can give people their first game. I'll give them the regular retail version. But as far as replay value, you need the Chrome edition because JJ likes his player powers, okay? I need to be on fire and still be able to just knock everybody out the way. That's one of the player powers. Also, Big Rig, Fatal 5, must-haves because you can't play 5 or 6 players without the Chromium edition. That's why I need it. I need the chaos because you have the mechanics of the Big Rig. You have the mechanics of the Fatal 5. They are different than the base game players. So base game players have their special abilities, and then the Big Rig and the Fatal 5 have their abilities. So in order to have all this mishmash going together, you're going to need different mechanics for 6 players. So as far as I'm concerned, Chromium Edition is for me. If you really just like a simple random game, stick to the base edition. But replay value, I want to play this a million times, play all the different characters, need the Chromium Edition, need all the fancy stuff. All right? That's pretty much it. And I said it was a pro as well. The randomness was a pro, but the con is also a pro. It's just really annoying because you can be in the lead and everybody can just shoot your car and then they hit for some reason. It's the small car and I'm spitting everywhere because it gets me so frustrated. You can be all the way in the front with your small car and you have the little aim dice. And for some reason, everybody hits the small on there. There's only 2 faces where you can hit a small car and yet they do it. I can be way in the lead and everybody just shoots me with their chopper. So
is there like some soothing tea
part of the whole
for him?
thing.
Because he's
on so far. Those 2 things are pretty much it. Otherwise, the game is amazing.
Yeah, that's funny because my con is almost the exact opposite of yours. We sat down to play this at Dice Tower Con, and it was the Maximum Chrome edition, and there was just too much stuff in there. There's too much stuff for your first play of the game. This game should be simple, put at the table, play. We were flipping over hazards. We're like, what the heck is that? We had all these other extra cards and stuff or whatever. Like, we just wanted to have the regular game experience. And, granted, I'm fishing for a con here because I like the game and I wouldn't mind having a lot of the extra stuff, although I don't want the bigger box from the Chrome edition. I can tell you that much. But, I just, for the first experience, at least with the game, the vanilla, regular, base, all that other stuff, it doesn't need to exist. It sort of gets in the way. But I could understand, like, if you keep playing the game, you got more people, you want to add those player powers or something, like those are great options to have, but just play the retail game. And, so anyway, that was my con, that when we sat down to play the first time, we just had all this extra stuff and we're just trying to sift through it. Like, what's the game? Is this part of the game or not part of the game? But
so
anyway,
I'll jump in there because mine is similar to that. There's a few issues. The rule book for the Maximum Chrome edition interjects the expansions into the pages of the rule book. So you're reading a rule book. This page is about big rigs and you're like, what? I'm not playing with that. Turn the page. So looking things up in the rule book that they amalgamated into this monster is difficult. I learned the game from the rule book to teach people at the con, and it was painful just trying to get all that information out of there. It was disjointed. That was a mess. They need to redo the rule book. And 2 is they need to make this modular. Kickstarter exclusives I hate with a passion. I cannot stand them. They're either so good that you feel like you miss out if you don't have them, or they're bloat and you just ended up paying more for nothing. There's no in between when it comes to that stuff. So things like ramps, I think, should be in the base game. Just a couple of tiles of ramps. They're not in there. They're in one of the expansions. Player power, stuff like that. I wish that they had put more thought into making the expansion materials available in a way that you could get just what you want. They did that once with big rigs in the Final 5, which I bought. I think it's necessary because it makes the game 5-player. It gives you options. I think that's really good for replayability. But I would love maybe to have the player powers or just the ramp sets, or, I don't care if characters are on fire. I don't really want to do that part. I wish it was more modular at a retail venue so that you could pick up the stuff you want. There's the extra packs and things like that. And they could still do that. It's something I hope they take the feedback on and make it available. I'm sure they're going to have another Kickstarter for it. They should. This game has got all kinds of hype following it after people are playing it. Hopefully they do another Kickstarter. Hopefully they make more things available at retail. Hopefully they make all those changes. But realistically, all of my issues with it are with the Kickstarter side of it. When you have the actual game in front of you, I don't have a single negative about the game. I love the game. I love how it plays. I love the modular expansion parts of it. I love all that stuff. So if you can manage to get the parts you want, this is a game that I think most people would love to have on their shelf.
Some of those parts are sold separately, but only at Restorations Games website. So you can get the Chop Shop, which has the player powers and maybe some other stuff, right? There's a few divisions, but it also has to be in stock, and that's the only place they sell it, right?
Yeah, there's upgrades
from them.
Yeah, too. You can buy it during the game or whatever. Cool. Yeah. You want to tell them your favorite parts of the game ever? It's not really a con. It's a pro, and she loved it.
Well, I mean, so I guess, the unexpected chaos, I think now knowing what it is, it was just a little shocking given the games that I'm used to playing with the group that we played with. So I'm like, okay, but I think knowing that now I can appreciate the game for what it is. And I see why you guys love it so much. Like, would I play it again? Yeah, I would play it. I wouldn't mind playing it with the motorcycles and the semi and every the big rig so that I can do a little more. And now knowing what to expect, but
you could just say you hate it. It's okay.
If you ever want to see a person do an impersonation of a balloon deflating, you should see it when her car gets blown up and she could do nothing about it. It was great.
Hey, I did like the consolation prize that I had the coast. So, because at first I'm like, when I was at dice, so at least I had, I could put them on the coast spots. But
there you go.
Yeah, it just backfired every single time I tried to do anything. Just backfired.
It's her favorite part of the game. Erock, do you want to?
I'm finishing the cons too because I think it's really good. I think probably my con is if you're not in the mood for that kind of a thing, you're not going to have fun at all. If you're trying to play any kind of a thinky planny game, you are not going to enjoy this. I think you do kind of have to. Now, for me, it kind of worked the opposite. Like, I didn't want to play it. I didn't want to like it, but I kind of knew what it was. I just didn't realize that it was fun until I started playing it. So I feel like as long as you know what you're getting into, you're probably bound to have a good time here if you enjoy that sort of thing at all. But I don't think you have to limit yourself to that because I don't normally enjoy this sort of thing at all. It just kind of crept up on me and I did enjoy that. But if you're like all about Friday night, we're going to get into a 3-hour Euro and really see this is not that. So you could very well not be happy with that. And I'm sure that there are people out there, like John said, people bounce off of games. There are going to be people out there that don't like the chaos, that don't like the destruction, that don't like the player elimination. And those are going to be sticking points for people.
We ask those people politely but firmly to leave.
Indeed, yes. But, for me, it fills this weird niche that I didn't even know I had, which is this crazy chaos, Mad Max, blow everything up. I like it. What are you going to do?
It's funny. There's a game called The Terror Below, which is essentially this game in a nutshell that came out 5 years ago. It's a Tremors theme. You're racing around a board. Sandworms are trying to eat you. It sounds really fun in concept, but it wasn't good. It was okay. It wasn't great. And when I saw this, I was reminiscent. I'm not even down to the sand you're racing on and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, it's just going to be another one of these. So I think getting people interested in playing it could be another con. It might be a hard sell because there's no special sauce in what makes it amazing. You have to play it to understand it. So that could be a con as well. It might be hard to get to the table, but if you do get it to the table, it's going to be successful way more often than not.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right. So I feel like most of us here like the game and then everybody else can leave. So with that being said, this is Just Got Played. We've reviewed Thunder Road Vendetta. Go get the base game if you just want to get a little tickle going, and then spend the extra $100 for the Maximum Chrome Edition if you love it. Just like the random chaos. Go spend the extra stuff if you can. All right. Well, this is Jim Jam. This is Allie. And then over there to me, for my screen is Steven. Down below is Erock. And then over there is John. We are Just Got Played. Make sure you come to the Discord. Everybody come to the Discord and tell us what you think of the game, because I'll probably be posting a lot of pictures, especially when the Chromium edition comes out. And then check out the how to play. You saw the overview before. And then check out the how to play and the unboxing of the regular version. Check all that stuff out at Just Got Played on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Comment below. Tell us what you think, what else you want to see. But for now, we'll see you later.
And the Thunder
Bye.
Road.
Bye.
The Thunder Road.
Oh no, he's singing. Stop.
And the
Stop.
lightning strikes.
Another love grows cold. On a sleepless night.